Ladies and gentlemen, we begin our session, Creating Employability in Africa for Human Capital Growth. To begin this session, I'd like to start by welcoming Dr. Vikramjit Singh Sahni, Chairman, Sun International Limited. He's a Padma Shri and member of the Rajya Sabha. I'd like to welcome you, sir, and invite you to give the opening remarks and take the session forward.
Check. My honorable ministers from African countries, dignitaries, excellencies, my dignitaries, distinguished delegates on the dais, ladies and gentlemen, a very good morning and a very warm welcome to the session of Creating Employability in Africa for Sustainable Human Capital Growth at this very robust and successful 19th edition of CII India Africa Business Conclave. I always believe that collaboration between India and Africa holds the key to unlocking the full potential of Africa's youthful population. Many of you may not know that more than 60% of Africa's population is below age of 25. It was also an eye-opener for me when yesterday I read it. And more young people are being added every year. And Africa boasts the world's youngest population, and in Africa, I also read the median age is just about 19.7 years. So now we all think that such a vibrant and energetic demographic should be a driving force for the all-round economic development. And of course, like many other countries, and especially post-COVID pandemic, we have seen the unemployment situation also for the young people across Africa is dire. It was estimated that in 2024, youth unemployment rate across Africa was projected 11%, in some countries as high as 30%. To quote some of the various challenges which persist in African employment ecosystem, the majority of young Africans work informally, lacking the benefits and protections of formal employment, disguised unemployment, underemployment, working in roles which do not fully utilize their skills and provide them adequate incomes. This precarious situation leads many young Africans to seek better opportunities abroad. The brain drain on one side, and which is depriving the African continent of much needed talent on other. This makes it challenging to attract foreign investment and maintain stable business environment. Excellencies and dear friends, Africa, which I already said has the world's youngest population, and then I personally feel which can be further progress into a highly productive workforce. We can transform and groom this young population of Africa into a productive workforce that can provide regions through manufacturing growth. And the foremost area I feel is farm modernization. We all know Abuja Declaration. I also come from agri sector. We have footprints in 8 African countries. So we have large agriable land, and we know the concept of food security. So this more agriable land with more agri inputs and produce of Africa can be the world reservoir of pulses, of millets, of oil seeds and whatnot. But then we can engage the youth in the whole, what we call farm to fork technology or agri value chain, And one another sector where African youth can be utilized, their talent, is the services sector, where we feel a lot of Africans, if you go to UAE, you go to other countries, we find a lot of our African brothers, sisters, young people. Why not they investments in their own country in IT, hospitality, finance, and all the ITES, digital, all these, which is the flavor of the today's challenges. So we have to discuss today and deliberate today that what holistic approach to this issue would enable African governments to better target entrepreneurship, skill training programs. Particularly, I've seen in Africa, because we started with South Africa, but then now we are into Malawi, Mozambique, and so many other countries. Seen the rural areas, primitive areas require a lot of economic development. I would just touch upon, before we invite our very distinguished panel here today, this morning, that India is playing a very pivotal role in this transformation. India had established National Forensic Sciences University, a big campus in Jinja in Uganda last year, and you will be proud to know that the iconic Indian Institute of Technology, which is IIT, Chennai, Madras, it set up a campus in Zanzibar in Tanzania in 2023, all spearheaded by my dear friend Mr. Puneet Kundal, Additional Secretary, Africa, who is personally, whenever I call him, 90-95% of the time he is in Africa. That is the way to emulate, that is the way to lead from the front. These educational links have been further strengthened by direct people-to-people connections. You all know India-Africa Forum Summit Training Initiative. We have started skill development, vocational courses. My another friend, CEO of National Skill Development Corporation, Mr. Ved Tiwari, is also here with us. So we have various training and vocational courses which we are running: water resource management, geo-information technology, internet working design, e-governance, highway constructions. And again, one major project is Pan-India, India's Pan-African e-network, e-Vidya Bharati, has been providing educational access to the students across Africa, even in the remotest location, through e-learning, where I'm happy to share over 15,000 African students from over 22 countries have benefited. Which are the opportunities in this? 27 Indian universities across 12 academic disciplines are involved. So this is India's proactive engagement, a partnership with Africa. Of course, we have ITEC, Indian Technical Economic Cooperation Program, which has its largest recipient base in Africa, offering fresh and innovative studies in all the urban infrastructure management, WTO, and even the renewable energy like solar. India also boasts one of the world's largest startup ecosystem. As you know, we have over 100 unicorns under the leadership of our Prime Minister, Mr. Narendra Modi, about 125 lakh startups. This dynamic ecosystem have soared in recent years. Similarly, we should discuss today, because we are talking youth engagement, is employment opportunities, other is startup, and I'm sure African cities such as Lagos, Nairobi, Cape Town are already becoming the startup global capitals, attracting significant investments. So the African youth can be massively engaged in entrepreneurship, making it hot breeding ground for startups. And in 2023, the statistics show that there was about 186 African startups which secured about $1.5 billion funding. India stands committed in implementing initiatives such as incubators, accelerators, venture capital funds, which is very crucial for supporting African startups, helping them overcome initial challenges and scale up their operations. And at the end, as Africa still faces several challenges like access to higher education, funding, management difficulties, gender disparities, brain drain, I outlined. But we as India, I assure you, India stands fully committed as a key partner in hand-holding of Africa. And in conclusion, the path to sustainable human capital growth in Africa lies in creating employability through targeted educational entrepreneurial initiative. As I have outlined in my opening remarks, India is fully committed and ready to support Africa in this journey, leveraging our strengths and experience to build a prosperous and equitable future for the youth of Africa. Thank you. So, dear friends, we have a very distinguished panel. We will start with none other than the man who spearheads India's initiative into Africa, Mr. Puneet Kundal, the Additional Secretary looking after Africa from Ministry of External Affairs, Government of India. Mr. Kundal, I think given India's successful journey in transforming its demographic dividend into a skilled workforce, what is your suggestion? How can India leverage its experience in large-scale skill development programs to address the unique challenges faced by the African nations in building industry-ready talent? Because you are the most traveled across the length and breadth of Africa. Mr. Kundal.
Sir, thank you very much, Mr. Sani, for those kind words.